to welcome everyone to the conversation where we talk about everything Cowboys. My favorite team, your favorite team, America's team. Here with your host, Coach Marv.
Cowboy Nation, Cowboy Nation, Cowboy Nation, my people. Coach Marv is back. Hadn't been with you in a while. Hadn't been with you in, it's been a good minute, man. Coach Marv has been going through some things, been going through some personal things, a little sickness, a little personal things financially, and a little hardship going on. But most of it all, Coach Marv hadn't been with y'all because most of the things that's been going on have just been rumor mills and innuendos and fake stories and exaggerations and over exaggerations and a lot of stuff that we have a lot of people that have talked about and done some great work, guys, that trying to do draft analysis and figure out what the Cowboys want and figure out what the Cowboys need. But we're going to talk today. I come back into this fold because we're getting close to another big part of telling you what the real deal is and not all these fake innuendos. The first big real thing that came out was when they got rid of Matt Eagleflus and they said we're going to get a new defensive coaching staff. We had a whole lot of talking about what defensive person they're going to get. But as I always told you, we don't know what we have to do. Is crazy all about all the talking. Watch what they do. They hired a young coach. They hired, then they went and got all these assistant coaches. They went and got this guy. A lot of rumors going on about what they want, this, and that. But then when they hired the coaches, then we saw the framework that they were going. The next thing that a lot of stuff was going on about free agency. You saw who they went and got first. You saw who they signed, what they did. All this other talk about who they're going to draft, who they're going to trade for. But we watch again, as I always say, watch what people do. A lot of the talk that's going on, a lot of the stuff that's being made up and being rumored is stories that may be being started from the organization, maybe started around the organization, all just to make talking points. But watch what they do. If you ever want to see what direction they're going in, track them on the GPS. It'll tell you they're going either north, south, east, or west. You could guess and say, oh man, they're gonna go this way, they're gonna go that, but watch what they do. So now we went to getting coaches. We went to the first part of free agency. They did a couple of moves here and there. And now we get into the next part that says, where are they going with this defense? Where are they going with this offense? What direction they're going before they start to get to OTAs, and then we get a chance to see how they're putting it on the field, on the grass. But right now, when the draft comes, then we're going to be able to know what direction is Coach Parker, Coach Shoddy, this offense, what direction they're going in this upcoming season. But the craziest thing about it, and the reason I've been out, and now I'm coming back, but the craziest thing I want to tell you is that we have a lot of our fan base still talking about what we did last year. I even heard a person talk today, and I'm not getting into back and forth with people, but I heard some people talk about, man, we had an offense that was top this and top that and top this and top that. And that is just a foregone conclusion that we're gonna start off like we started off like we ended last year. One thing about football, you can't take what you did last season and apply for this year, the next year. Because everybody's going to be preparing for you. Everybody's going to be looking at what your defense, your offense did last year. And they're going to come out and they're going to have all the film study. They're going to get their teams and they're coming out to stop anything that you did well last year. So that means, regardless of if you got the same players or you got better players, it's still going to come down to a mental game. Are you going to prepare yourself to be better offensively? Because it's not a foregone conclusion that we're going to be good for offensive. Because talking to a lot of my Cowboy fans, I think a lot of us got a lot of amnesia. We will forget. And I went over this a couple of times in the barbershop, and they was like, man, Coach Marv, you're right, but that's not apply. I remember when our offense was one of the best offenses in the league. And we had a Amari Cooper that all y'all loved. We had a CeeDee Lamb that was great, number 2 wide receiver. Nobody called him number 1, regardless of how great he was. Nobody called him a number 1 at that time. They made him prove that he was a number 1 for 2 or 3 years. I think we forget about that because we talked about that every game. Is he a number 1? Matter of fact, they made it prove for 2 or 3 years. Our same fans. And he put up great numbers for 3-4 years. And we still had to make him prove that he was number 1. But we had Amari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb. We had some real solid third wide receivers. We had a solid tight end. We had 2 excellent running backs. And we had the great Dak Prescott. And we thought our offense was going to carry us to a Super Bowl. And we had a horrible defense the year before. And guess what? We got the 12th ranked defense that year. But not a lot of free agents. Not a lot of names with draft picks, but a mentality that got them there. Now, I think we forget about that. I think we act like that didn't happen. It's crazy to me that when I see people that I know watched it with me. And act like that didn't even happen. Under the 10th ranked top 10 scoring defense. A top 12 defense altogether. And in the playoffs, they were very solid, except for penalties against San Francisco. But our offense failed us. And we had a vast amount of talent. Yes. But why did our offense fail us? Because we rested on our laurels because we thought that what we had done in the past and what we had was going to be enough to be able to be successful in this NFL. And I'm telling you, it ain't. So I don't pat our offense on the back. Show me, Shadi, if you are going to come up and be better. Show me if you're going to be better. Show me, Pickens, can you do it 2 times in a row? Because he has never done it before 2 times in a row. No, he hasn't. So I know some people going to say, well, Coach, you're getting on Pickens or that. No, it's the truth. Just like y'all made CeeDee Lamb show it for year after year, we call him number 1. But I get people calling Pickens a number 1 now. Shortly, how we forget and how we change. Well, I just call the facts. Because I remember, I got a great memory, and I remember how things would go. And I understand you could do it. Do I think this defense is going to be better than it was last year? Of course. Because you got an emphasis on it. It's a definite. It's going to be talked about it over and over to these guys. So it's going to be importance to this defense to be better. Is our offense going to be as good as it was last year? I'm concerned. Not because of talent. I'm concerned because we're going to get too full of ourselves thinking this easy because what we did last year. And think about it. Our offense was inconsistent last year. Because in the bigger games, we showed a tendency to be inconsistent. First down was horrible. When we controlled first down, we were good. Your coach talked about that because I made a video about that weeks ago during the season. But he talked about it being improvement this year. I wonder. I always say Coach Marv say things in general, and a lot of people pass over them, but they come back because real coaches see real problems. They don't go on all these this crazy, we making up problems because somebody said something. They see real problems. But it's going to be about mentality. Can we have a better team? But there's been a lot of talk, people. A lot of talk about stuff that really is not important. And the Cowboys are going to show you where they're going. And they're going to show you with their coaching staff, offensively and defensively, that they feel are big problems or things that they want to do or need to strengthen based off the people they pick, they sign, and the guys they draft. That's going to tell you what their self-evaluation is. That's how it's been in coaching since day one. You self-evaluate and you go and you attack. But the main thing about coaching is you have to make sure that you don't rest on your laurels. A great coach down here in South Carolina State, Coach Chennis Berry, and I want to make sure I give him a lot of credit for his acronyms and some of the stuff that I pick up from. But he made an interesting point. They won the South Carolina State Bulldogs, won the Black College National Championship last year. And he said he's coming in this year because they done played for it 2 years in a row. They lost it the year before, 2 years ago, but they came back and won the Black College National Championship this past year. And he said he's coming back again. And he said the theme for the Bulldogs this year is raising the bar. Raising the bar. And he said the bar means be about results. Man, that's a golden acronym. But see, we could talk about raising the bar on our defense, but it got to be about being about results. We could talk about and have all the great players, have this player, have that player. I've heard people talk about, because they picked up on what Christian Parker said about great players make great coaches. Hell yeah, that's great. But you can have great players and mess it up. Yeah. Because time in, time out, every year, the most talented teams don't always win the Super Bowl. Most times, the most talented teams don't always win. Now, if you put talent with chemistry and coaching, you have dynasties. Yeah. I'm a Dodgers fan. Everybody say, well, they pay, they got all the money. But there's a chemistry on that team. There's guys on that team that's getting paid, but they're all about baseball. They're sacrifice. That do other things, that pick each other up, that come to work every day the right way. There's a manager that controls that team and manages the right way because he can get everybody, regardless of how great they are, to fit into and sacrifice to do what they need to do. You take talent with chemistry, coaching, and sacrifice, you win multiple times. You always in the loop to win. You take talent with no chemistry, no sacrifice, you become an underachieving team trying to chase down talent all over the place to try to cover up for the chemistry that you lose, that you don't have. See it all the time. Seattle was not the best, not the most talented football team in this league by far, but they had the talent with chemistry. And you talk about it. Listen to their interviews. All of them talk about the exact same thing. But when we talk about it as our Cowboy Nation, we think we need what? We think we need talent. And I understand we think we need talent, but we need a team that's going to come out and work together. One of the pickups, the free safety that we picked up to the $30 million contract that we gave him. He came in, he said one thing. He said, man, winning is about sacrifice. Ooh. And I love that because knowing what he's really saying, he's coming in and saying, hey, Quentin Williams said the same thing last year when he talked about we need dogs. And remember his interviews earlier doing last year talking about we need this give up and make it right for other players. And I remember seeing one of the sounds of the sideline where he was talking about I'm gonna do this, and he was talking to number 41, and he was telling about I'm going here, man, and you should be able to eat. Quentin Williams understands because he's an Alabama guy. He understands that the Nick Saban philosophy was, yes, we got talent, but if everybody's not the sacrifice to do their job and sacrifice for the greater good of the team, then nobody's going to look good. But if we do that, everybody's going to eat. Everybody's going to eat. There has not been anything great that's happened in your life, in anybody else's life, in any team, anything from this whole entire world without sacrifice. Are we willing to sacrifice as Cowboy team to win a championship? Does that mean we need every great player in every position? Or we think we can stack the deck and we can win because we stack the deck? And we see teams over and over again don't do that. But we're so thirsty to the point we have to say, oh man, no, we got to have this guy. I understand what you're coming from. I understand you want the best talent. That's no problem. But I understand we're going to have to make some talent. We not make some talent. We're going to have to make some stars because everybody in the NFL is talented. We're going to have to get some people that are going to be talented at their role. That's a hard thing to understand then. See, we're looking for guys that are going to be talented multi-roles. But I can find me 11 guys that's talented at their roles and have a dog team. So, what direction are we going? I'm getting seeing now we got some people questioning Christian Parker. That we don't trust him. Should we trust Christian Parker? Okay. And let me don't forget what my statement was. When we first hired Christian Parker, I was one of the first people that got on. I think I got on Big Time Show, and we talked about. And I was questioning about the experience level of Christian Parker and could he put a staff together at that time before he had a staff because he had just got hired. And was he going to put a staff together, or did he have the experience level to be able to do the job? So then I had to say what I have to do. I had to say that go back to what I just said in the beginning. Cannot go on what I think. I have to watch what they do. Now, am I impressed about some of the stuff that I'm watching them do? Yes. Is that going to be totally? No. And can anybody be totally sold? No. But what we have to do is we have to invest in him. And guess what I think the Cowboys have done? We can talk about the Joneses all you want. I know, and I've been one of the hardest people on Joneses, but I'm going to tell you this. I've said this before. When the Joneses get a new coach, they give them what they want. They give them autonomy. They give them free reign. They do that. They do that. But when it starts to go south, I think that their what name is not, and then they start to say we can meddle, and then that kills it. They gave McCarthy free reign to hire who he wanted to hire and to do his thing where he wanted to go. They gave Schottenheimer. They give their guys at the beginning. They give it that. They gave Jason Garrett that, and they're giving Krista Parker that because they're getting him a chance to hire his coaches. They're going out, but there's limitations in anything you're going to go get. You can't get the guys. He said, "I want to pay. We're gonna go get the best guys in every position." There's limitations because you still have to think about a whole type of football team. I hear people out here talking about we're gonna be all in. Let's go and do it all. Tell me what team does that. Tell me what team trades away all in and go and just get all the superstars and pay 7, 8 people $40 million. Tell me what team does that. If there is no team that does do that, why do you think that that's going to be successful for us? That's just that mentality of talking, man. That's that mentality of saying we just try to make news. And I think as Cowboy fans, sometimes we fell in to the Hollywood news catching ideas that the Cowboys have tried to push. Think about it. Because we throw stuff out there to throw against the wall. And then the football people that I know is football people, come on, man. Again, talent, chemistry, sacrifice. Are we going to be that? Are we going to get it from the mud? Or are we going to wait to try to get a superstar and think we're going to ready make a championship based off a name? Because really, I think sometimes we think names is going to win it. And I think sometimes we think that what we did in the past, that like we're not playing against no other great players, like we ain't playing against no other team that's not going to scout and take stuff away. You know what makes a great player? You know what makes a great player? You know what makes a guy that's a superstar? A #1 wide receiver, a #1 running back, a franchise quarterback, a great defensive lineman, a great offensive coordinator, a great defensive coordinator, a great head coach. Consistency. Top level consistency. When people change and they study you and they come at you a different way, when they say, we're not going to allow you to do what you did last year, and you can tweak things, you got the mold and get people better. You as a player, you still be able to be the consistently good again when they expect you to be good. When they're coming at you with all ways to stop you from being good. and you do it year in and year out. Those are the guys we call number ones. They ain't got to win championships, but consistently good. Not saying that they're perfect. And if you haven't put up consistent, dominating numbers in 2 or 3 years, you're not a number one. You still got proving ground. And guess what, people? All around the NFL, they say that same thing. All these GMs, the smart GMs, all the real football people in the back rooms that talk about really talent, about who's the dogs and who's the real, who they feel are real first round draft picks. That's why when people go to draft boards, that's why all even I'm not giving credit for people that do drafting things, but think about it, my colleagues, my YouTube guys that do draft things. I remember Boss said he does, did his book, and remember he's doing his book. I remember him saying there is not a lot of true number one picks in a draft. There might be 32 first round draft picks, but consistent people that says true number one draft picks, it might be 12, might be 14, 15, if that many, every year. That means that tells you something. That there is not just superstars, but you have to be a consistent, dominating player when people adjust to you, and you still can go out and put up numbers. And you earned that right to be called number one. So all this stuff we talk about, yeah, well, yes, we build the ego and say, yeah, it's the number one. We got 2 number ones. That's not building. That's called ego building. But CeeDee Lamb has earned the right to be number one. Check his stats. Even in a hurt year this year, he only 300 yards behind the guy that got more because he was hurt. He put up dominating numbers year in and year out to get his numbers. Jefferson, dominating numbers when everybody knew that you're going to Jefferson. CeeDee Lamb had that, and he didn't have a number. When is his great number 2 receiver? When Marv Cooper, when he had a great number 2 receivers, and he was putting up what? Historic number for Cowboys. So just think about it. Well, we got the best wide receiver. Come on, man. And guess what? This is telling the truth. The same film that people did about George Pickens before he got here and said he don't get separation. Sometimes it's route running, but he's a very talented guy. That film ain't changed. And Pickens is a very talented guy. But you got to remember something, Cowboy fans. See, y'all don't want to talk about this. And some of y'all that fought with Dak Prescott like I did, what's crazy to me is some of y'all out there that fought hard for Dak Prescott and stood on the wall for Dak Prescott need to come off your Pickens greatness and understand that you were right. Dak Prescott is that guy. And guess what? He gave Marv Cooper his best damn years as a receiver. Am I lying? He made CeeDee Lamb a very rich man. Am I lying? He got Cedric Wilson a contract. And after he left that, what did he do? Am I lying? Lord knows, y'all talk about how good he had. Who was his quarterback? I'm not saying Pickett's not a talented guy, but he ain't never had monster numbers. Listen, I had him as a fantasy football. The year he had 1,000 yards, he had two games, he had 200 yards receiving. Yeah, he used to have real big games and real low games. He had 4 or 5 really big games, and if you look at the average on some of the other games, 50 yards, 20 yards, 30 yards. I know he was on my fantasy team. This is no discredit to Pickett, but we give him too much credit. And guess what? At the end of the year last year, when teams said we're not going to let him get the slant no more, I watched this with when I watched the watch parties. We watched this. Y'all watched this. And guess what? Now you got amnesia saying, well, you know, teams took it away. Now he's got to evolve. That's what Schottenheimer said. We got other things. We want him to evolve now to see if he's going to go to the next level. But that means paying $40 million and mean him being the highest paid receiver on your football team. Listen here. If other teams thought he was the receiver that should get Chase, Jefferson, Lamb, Puka McCure, money, they would put trade offers out there. But the rest of the league is saying, you got to do that again, man. We don't know if this flash of pan. And do we have a quarterback like Dak Prescott? And the rest of the league knows. When he had Pro Bowl numbers, is CeeDee Lamb didn't miss 5 games? 4.5 games? No. And if y'all think that, y'all crazy. And it kills me because what we have let the outside people outside our house, the people that's outside the Cowboys that love the Cowboys, influence us to think irrational about the players that we got. Because and I know y'all hear this. Tell me out there, Cowboy Nation, that y'all don't hear every time somebody that don't even like the Cowboys. Oh, y'all gonna sign Pickens? Y'all got to pay that guy. Every Cowboy fan tell you that. Do y'all ever think to say, why they worried about us signing Pickens? Do they say, we want Pickens, let's go, we're going to get Pickens from you? No, because they want you to overpay, because they want to say, hey, they want you to call the controversy of CeeDee Lamb. We forgot about CeeDee Lamb. But we made CeeDee Lamb earn his number one thing. He had to, listen, we forget CeeDee Lamb had a record year of any Cowboy receiver. 1,600 yards, 113 catches, but with nobody at number 2. He had just as good a year that Pickens had this year, and he played 2 years ago with a noodle arm quarterback for 5 games. But now we say, and Pickett's agent is just using our fan base to boost his salary up. And he can't boost it. Listen, he can't get that cost from nobody else but the Cowboys. Because no other fan base is saying that we see that this guy's unstoppable. I'm not saying he's not talented, but if we're going to be serious about watching film, his film does not look like Jefferson. It does not look like Marv Chase. It does not look like CeeDee Lamb. It does not look like Puka Nakua. It does not look like the guys that's getting 34 plus. On this team, he could be an outstanding wide receiver. But everybody got their place. And on this team, he's a number 2. We could talk about 2 number 1s all the way, but it ain't no 2 number 1s. There ain't 2 number 1s in your household. And that's just the facts, Jack. Because this how the season gonna pan out. You can pay him 35, 40 million, 37 million. And CeeDee Lamb played, and this is what's gonna happen. And I want y'all to listen to me good. Your fan base is gonna cause total chaos to this locker room with a bunch, and y'all see this is crazy about it. This fan base pushing for it, but they pushing for it because y'all want controversy. So y'all can have something to talk about and somewhere to pit somebody against. If we pitted Ezekiel Elliott against Tony Pollard, what the hell you think we gonna do with Pickens and CeeDee Lamb? The first game that the offense doesn't do enough, and there was more targets to CeeDee Lamb than it was George Pickens, and George Pickens getting paid more than CeeDee Lamb, Dak Prescott is going to be living a Dallas Cowboy nightmare. And I would tell Dak Prescott this: be careful when you keep raising 2 guys to say this, because guess what? They're going to make it. They're going to make it where you're going to have to feed both of their egos. The fan base is going to be that. And that is going to be your downfall, because team and everybody knowing their spot is going to be the chemistry you're going to need. But once you start trying to feed 2 number 1s, everybody else is going to lack, because you're going to feel the pressure to do that. Because they're going to take what you say and they're going to run with it. As soon as somebody drop a pass, oh, we should have went to the guy that's making the most money. Watch what I tell you. Instead of winning football games, we're going to be talking about who should get more targets. Because they don't fall in place. But guess what? In Cincinnati, Hicks is paid a very good salary. But he know his place. This is the Jamar Chase game. He can have some great games, but he's number 2. And if you want to be a number 1, go pack plumber so you can get to be the lead role in your own team. Ain't nothing wrong with that. I want guys to be ambitious like that. But I want you to remember something, Cowboy fans, and this is not this ain't no fake. This is the truth. He had that before. And he gave up that matchup. He had the keys in his hand to be the lead guy. And he failed. And you want to talk about dysfunction? If we make him the highest paid receiver on this team and he's not the best, that's dysfunctional. And I'm not discrediting nobody to say, well, and I've said this before, but nobody ain't gonna argue me on this. I believe that when people put the rules together about the number one wide receiver get 13% of the salary cap, and that's how it's been going. And you look at all that, but context means more than just rules. How many of those rules that you've seen already had a number one wide receiver and was the number one wide receiver, and the player that they're going to be adding was not better than the guy they already had? How many of those situations? None. And the guy in his prime already. Now, I ain't talking about a guy over his heel. So if the context is different, the rules going to be different. And y'all removing a guy from number one wide receiver because another guy came in 1 year, and this guy was hurt and went on the field for 4 games, and now y'all because film don't tell you that his route running, his separation, and all that is better than the Lamb. Don't even get there, man. Don't even come there with that. And y'all already know how the Cowboys are. The guy that get, y'all already said, the guy that's getting the most money gonna get the ball. So y'all trying to put a dynamic in that's gonna cause that. And I got people that saying, "Oh, pay him anything," and they the same people that talked about, man, the dynamic. You know, that Cowboys can't be being run about who's getting paid. And guess what your haters are doing? Guess what the haters of the Cowboys are doing? They're baiting you to do that. And know how they're baiting you to do that? Yeah, y'all gonna sign Pickens? They're baiting you. And soon you got two $35, $37 million receivers, they're sitting and waiting to say, this is the only team that does that. And they're waiting to say, who's the, I can see the first article. Nobody ain't said nothing. They talking about getting Pickens all this money, but nobody ain't said this. Nobody ain't put this show out there. And I'm waiting on the show because see, they got it queued up. Most of y'all got it queued up. Who's the number one wide receiver? Y'all waiting to put that out there. Everybody talking about signing, but ain't nobody got that show queued up talking about who's gonna be the number one wide receiver. And if y'all think that these guys so good of friends, they just said that, yeah, they said it ain't no problem with that. If they really dogs, it's gonna be a problem. If CeeDee Lamb is a dog, there ain't no way he gonna allow a guy to come in here in 1 year, take the mantra of being the highest paid wide receiver, and he had to work 4 years to get that. I ask you people, the ones that probably cussing me out and talking crazy about me and probably gonna watch the video talking about coach trying to be a hater. Would you allow that? You put in work for 4 years and numbers that he ain't reached in that uniform, and you were just hurt and gave him opportunity. If you weren't hurt, he wouldn't got all those opportunities. And then they gonna pay him more than they gonna pay you, and you all right with that. I hear Michael Irvin talking all this crap, and I love Michael. Mike ain't want them to go get Mike ain't want them to go get the man from Notre Dame. He wouldn't let nobody gonna come in his position and get more paper than he gonna get. Because once you give him more paper than you get, you automatically move into a number 2 receiver. But y'all gonna fall into that dysfunction. Y'all gonna fall in that dysfunction. I just sit back and watch. And I say with the dynamic. And listen, they may do it. But that's gonna make this offense hell. Y'all think it's gonna be hell because it's gonna be good. You have just added a legitimate distraction to this football team. What happens if CeeDee Lamb got 20 more catches and 200 yards and 3 or 4 touchdowns more than at the end of the year than the guy that's making $5 million more than he makes? We talk trash about guys that get a little contract if they don't live up to the contract. And y'all act like it'll be no problem. Y'all lying. Y'all listen. It's a lot of our Cowboy fans want it so y'all can have something to talk about. That's what gets me so frustrated about Cowboy Nation. It ain't about winning, it's about publicity. I know somebody told me, said, Coach Marv, you ain't been on so-and-so, you know, probably lost the algorithms and you was close to getting 1,000 subscribers. If you want to like, comment, subscribe, let me put the thing up there because I always want to keep the branding going. Yes, I do want to be over, I want to get over 1,000 subscribers. Yes, I want to get to that point where I'm fully monetized and I'm into that point. Yes. But I'm not gonna come and do a show or go against something that I know that's not basic, fundamental human things that I know that's gonna be just to get likes and views. I ain't gonna do that. I'm not gonna go that far. But I will say this: if y'all think if Pickens gets more than CeeDee Lamb, that this ain't gonna be total hell for Dak Prescott. Oh. Trying to feed 2 egos, diva position already, and I'm making the money and trying to go. You could think that everybody loves each other, but everybody gonna want. And when there is no place value, the answer is wrong. And I'm gonna say this bad thing. We're gonna move on to the defense. When we got George Pickens last year, nobody thought George Pickens. Everybody thought he was talented. Nobody thought George Pickens would have the year he had. There's a common denominator of why these wide receivers are having very good years, and this offense is staying in a top 5 offense, regardless of who the wide receivers is. And that common denominator is Dak Prescott. The one y'all don't want to give credit to. The one that take more BS than any other player in the entire NFL. The one y'all still not discrediting because y'all talk about how great the wide receivers is. The one y'all talk about, well, you know, he's going at his end of his years. We really got to give him all the weapons because, you know, we don't want to waste his years. Man, Dak has showed you whatever you gave him. And since he picked up Mark Cooper, when Mark Cooper went away, the offense said, you don't need a top 1 offense to win. A top 10 offense wins a lot. This guy give you top 10 offenses. And if this was a great organization that had a great football fan base, now I heard some people feelings. This organization, if it was the Kansas Cities, the Philadelphia's, the other organization, I ain't gonna say Philadelphia was great, but some of the great organizations, they would have offered Pickens a deal around 25 to about 27, $28 million, a long-term deal. They would have really put it out there. If he would have balked on that, we would say, we got Dak Prescott. We can find another 2 wide receiver to go beside that dog we got at number 1, and we offense ain't gonna fall off much at all. And we would have put him on the block early and got us a 2nd round pick or second round, and we could have went. Listen, we could get a star talented number 2 wide receiver out the draft, and guess what? He could put up numbers that CeeDee Lamb put up, and CeeDee Lamb was drafted number 21. And CeeDee Lamb caught off almost 1,000 yards and was a very great contributor to the Cowboys his rookie year. But we forget about that. Y'all forget about that. Y'all act like that didn't even happen. Y'all act like, well, you can't do that now. And Dak Prescott is a better quarterback now than he was then. And y'all think the offense is going to fall off? Please. And guess what? That talented number 2 wide receiver you may draft is going to know his role. Lonely is going to know his role. They're going to fit their role, and they're going to be very good with Dak Prescott. But y'all need Louis Vuitton. Because y'all feel if it ain't Louis Vuitton, it ain't no good. That's our fan base. That's just being honest. And if y'all don't believe it, think about your actions and think about what you go through. I know I'm bragging about that. I'm gonna mention it again. Boss Cowboy book. I remember he put out his book. I don't think he did it this year, but his book of draft. He always bragged about it because he's telling the truth. Year after year, guys that people don't really look at. How many guys he hit on? Guys that people are not looking at that maybe not have the flash and all the great everybody talking about it all early on, and they turn out to be very good. Right? He was right. And I wish he would come back with his book. Because that was where his soul was at, and that was what was working. Sometimes we can get caught up in this fame game. And I'm not saying fame game in a negative way, but those guys have to make their names. Names are made on the field. I ain't never seen somebody line up with some names on the field, won a Super Bowl, won a game, or won a winning. I never seen that. And when I coach, I never seen we win the game by putting by who's playing against who in the roster lineup. Only time that wins, probably in fantasy football. Because every year there's names made. I hear people talking about, well, you can't win with rookies. Say, well, I check this. This is the truth. 3 years ago, Kansas City won back-to-back Super Bowls with 2 rookie starters in the secondary and 2 other rookie guys that would get big time in there. And some of them were 4th and 5th round draft picks. And they won a Super Bowl with rookies back there. 2 years ago, that's 3 years ago. 2 years ago, Philadelphia comes back and wins the Super Bowl with 2 rookies starting, and one made great plays in the Super Bowl. This year, one of the best safeties in football is a rookie that played for Seattle. So when y'all talk about, well, we got to get some experience, they got growing pains. I ain't tell you flash in the pans, I'm telling you 3 years in a row. And if you look at some of the starters on Seattle and some of the starters on New England, there was more rookies playing. We didn't ask them to be stars. We asked them to do their job well, but they had to be Hall of Famers. Tyler Booker did pretty good this year. Parsons did pretty good. CeeDee Lamb did pretty good. But we got short memories, though. I see people go up there, they'll go pick the other draft picks, and they'll say, look at our 5th round draft picks. Look at this and how they listen, man. When you draft guys, if they give you 2 or 3 good solid years as a role and do certain things and maybe start some games and be on a good team and some roles, that's you consider them a good draft pick. Some may get on to get another contract, but majority of guys don't get 2 contracts. That's not in just Dallas. Duh. That's all over the league. Some of y'all do that because y'all think free agency is the way. And you know the teams that I posted this because it's been I did research. Most teams that deal with free agency, most of the and deal with free agency, majority of building their roster, those teams are in the low half of the NFL every year. Teams that Philadelphia, Kansas City, because they've been San Francisco, they've been dominating for the last 10 years. They don't build their team with free agency. But you know something? We rather do it that way because regardless of how they do it, and they've been successful for a long period of time, we think that you don't supposed to do it that way. All right. But when people start to dig in, nobody want to really dig into it. Because when they start really digging into it, but then they start making up stuff about, well, this guy, and we're talking about phrases they got that nobody talked about. And I ain't talking about, listen, when you go out and get phrases, it's not about getting guys with their names, it's getting guys that fit what you want them to do and they're understanding their role for what you want them, you're bringing them in for. Fit. At this level of football, is the most important thing because the talent level between the better and the one name is very minimal. But it's a sum, and I've said this over, y'all probably heard me say this. It's the sum of the parts. But if it was a real good organization, they would be, hey, they would have already had offered him a contract. It would have been underneath CD Lamb. They would have went with it. They would have it would have fitted in. It would have probably paid him very handsomely. And they would have said, hey, you get paid very well. But this is the lead guy, and you under the lead guy. And he didn't understand that his agent said he's supposed to get more than that. Then we would have found, and this all the other organization would say, well, we'll find you where you can get that. And we're gonna see who's willing to give you that type of money. And are you willing to go to that type of money because you understand your best years come because you got chemistry and you got a guy that led the league in tight throws. That means he would put the ball on the money when you ain't had to do too much. And we watch highlight after highlight. And he didn't do too many, it wasn't too many catches when he did all these highlights when he was going over and catching bad balls. Not with Dak Prescott. And what kills me is the people that love Dak Prescott like I do, that ain't realizing there's two to this name. It's Dak Prescott and him. But the best out of him came with Dak Prescott. So it shouldn't get ugly. Only reason it's gonna get ugly because the Cowboys playing this role because they like y'all to be in it. And if, I tell you again, I listen, and I hope it works. But his contract make him the highest paid wide receiver on this team, and he don't put up the best numbers on this team. And if we don't win, and he don't put the best numbers, y'all will crucify him. And the niceness that he's showing you, y'all will take all that away from him. Be careful what you ask for, the situation you ask for. it can be way more detrimental than positive. Now, move on to defense. Everybody's talking about the defense. Everybody's worried about what Christian Parker is going to do with the defense. Made some very good moves. Gary is a very good move. I posted on Twitter when they first said Gary was maybe be available, just before the Cowboys had to say that they're going to draft. I said that will fit because he fits the 3-4 linebacker that can play with his hand off the ground and plays that type position because he played in 3-4 before. I've told y'all that they're looking for 3-4 outside linebackers to play this rush in. This is why they went in again. Watch what they do. They went out and hired a guy that taught Gary that is a professional to be a consultant, a professional guy that teach pass rush. To defensive ends, but especially to outside linebackers, the rushing game. Everybody told me they want defensive end. But the guys that they went to scout got to be able to drop in coverage. This is why the guy from Auburn is appealing to them. This is why they really like what they saw in the Miami guy because he can get out and get in coverage. They want guys that's on that defensive end that can do linebacker things because they're going to apply pressure from all over. Let me say that again. Let me say it again so people in the back can hear. 3-4 defenses apply pressure from all over. They are famous for zone blitzes to get free runners to the quarterback. They are famous for setting up guys to be successful when you got multiple guys and you got guys in the middle that are hard to block. Number 41 is tailor-made for a 3-4 defense. Gary is a great player on the other side. Houston had the reason why he's on this team and is going to get a chance is because he used to be a linebacker at the University of Florida because he was one of the top guys coming out of high school to Florida. He went to Jackson State and then they made him a rush in. But he can play with his hand off the ground. I know somebody that wanted to try to come back. That's what he was told about the players that they were looking for. So when I say this, I'm talking about what I know from inside the rock. That's what they was told. Now, did I think Clowney could have done that? Yeah. But Clowney was asking for too much money. Clowney ain't signed because he hadn't got a job offer. Clowney's price tag is too much. And they want his price tag to come down. Understandable. He's not a superstar no more. But he wants to get back. And what I'm gonna tell you this. Y'all can talk about this all you want. Listen to me good for y'all to listen to me really good about the NFL. If you're a good player in this league and you go and you've been getting paid really handsomely, and then you decide to take a prove-it deal and you go down within that less than $10 million money and you do a 1-year deal to be a prove-it deal, once you do that in the NFL, I don't give a damn what you do in that 1 year. You'll never get back top dollar again. Let me say that again. Once you go down and go back down to the lower half of the money, you'll never get back up to the $20, $25 million money or the $15, $16 million money again. Because now you have valued yourself as a $7 to $10 million guy. And that's where people are gonna keep you at. Check out the guys that done it and tell me where you see that, where that happened when they went back up. And if it's one out of 10 cases, I still go with it. If it's 2 out of 10, 12 cases, I'm still going with what I say. That's why they tell you when you go out there and people try to prove a deal, you better get a salary that you're going to be comfortable with because you have just set your new rate. I don't care what you do, unless you do something that's way, that you have an MVP season or something. But just good numbers ain't going to get you back up there. And the Cowboys are not going to sign Clowney for no less than about $5 to $7 million and maybe for a 1-year deal. They're not going to give him no 2-3 year deal at no 30 or 40 million. He's not going to get no $35, $40 million for no 3-year deal. No, he's not. They ain't doing that. That's what he wants. Probably. Because you can't tell me a guy that's talented like that, he's still sitting around waiting. Most of that time because he outpriced himself. And his agent probably said he want more. And that's and teams ain't gonna it's a price that he's been paying for the last couple of years, and that's people gonna stay at that price. That's what they offer. He gonna say, man, I got numbers that I should get more than that. I used to get better. Well, this is what you get now. That's how the NFL goes. He's not known as a guy that's a franchise player no more. He's a solid piece. And I think he could be a very good piece here. At a 5-eye with some stand-up outside line. But they showed you that they want bulk at 5-eye. That's why Osa's not here. And they got bulk. But they're looking for rush in outside linebackers. I've said this before. I've said this on Twitter. If Highsmith for Pittsburgh is out there, nobody can tell me no film that, listen, get the tape. Nobody can tell me no film that y'all watch of Highsmith for the position he plays, that he ain't a damn good run stopper, plays that damn position to the T. And he had 9.5, 10 sacks with missing some games with a groin injury. And he had 300 less snaps than Cosby and had the same amount of damn sacks. Let me say that again. He had 300 less snaps and got the same amount of sacks. Let me say that one more time. He had 300 less snaps and got the same sacks with a bad groin. You're not looking for a guy to get 20. What you're trying to do is get a multitude of guys that average 7 to 8 a year. Give me about 5 or 6 guys who's getting 7 to 8 a year, and I'll give you a defense that's winning Super Bowls like what? Seattle. Because I got guys that hunt. Now, let's go back. I heard some people say, well, you can't win it with committed. Let's go back to that same year. I'm saying, let's go back to that year that we went from Mike Nolan defense where we were worst in the whole league. And that first year, Dan Quinn, this ain't patting Dan Quinn on the back, but this is the facts. When we were almost leading the league in sacks, we were getting pressured by crazy times on the quarterback. What? Hey, did we? Am I lying? We were the 12th. We was a top 10 scoring defense. Matter of fact, these are the facts. They ain't no joke. We were the top 10 scoring defense. We were the 12th defense overall, coming from where we at. Did we go get some top ranked Russian pass rusher? No, we did it with who we had. Did we remember that DeMarcus Lawrence missed 4 games that year? Do we remember Randy Gregory missed 2 or 3 games that year? Matter of fact, I remember that's when Michael Parsons got a chance to get full-time rep. Didn't even know about pass rushing to be a pass rusher. Yes, did he get all the sacks from the defense end? No, he got most of the sacks from rushing from middle linebacker. We did it with DeMarcus Armstrong, Dorrance Armstrong. We did it with some other guys, but we were still putting pressure on the quarterback. What? Yeah. Gregory was in his first year starting. Never had no double-digit sacks, but when he came back, he was getting out the quarterback. Defense kind of reminded me of the Seattle defense last year. We had a multitude of guys that could get to the quarterback. Yeah, we did. Did anybody care? Did anybody say we couldn't get to the quarterback then? Let's talk about amnesia now. That happened. I watched it with everybody else. We said we can't do it now. That's impossible. And I think the talent we got now is 2 times better than the talent we had then. Because we did it then with a rookie Osa, another Gallimore. Who else? But guess what we did it with? We had and I'm going to get to that part what made it work. But we could do it again. And a 3-4 is going to provide multiple ways to get into the quarterback. That's why we're getting safeties to get blitz. That's what intrigues the Cowboys with Caleb Downs. His ability to play towards the ball and to get off and to go and work with a guy that's showing him how to blitz and get off blocks and get to the quarterback. And guess who he's working with that technique? A guy that's the Cowboys signed as a consultant pass rusher that's working with everybody on our team of how to get to the quarterback, because we're going to apply pressure multiple ways. We're going to get out to the quarterback. That's what I tell you. But we starstruck. And if we want to make a trade, I already said what I want. I think somebody put a trade out there, and I ain't talking about no trade ideas. But this trade would be the best trade in the history of trade. It's 2 trades that I would have made if this was a trade somebody put up, and I ain't got it, somebody said on Twitter, but on Facebook. But it's 2 trades that I would make if this was the 2 trades that was going. One of them I don't have no specifics, but I give you the one about Highsmith. I would trade our first pick to the Pittsburgh, swap our first pick with Pittsburgh, and they give us Highsmith along with that. I'm going to get a damn dog at defensive end to go, and I'm going to have a 3-headed monster that's going that's going to be, that know how to play a 3-4, that you're going to know how to come from multiple plays and can play the run. We going, yeah. And 41, Highsmith, and get, and then add Houston. Yeah, we gonna wreck shop. Because I understand Highsmith. He came from Pittsburgh. I know he know it, and I can tell he know how to, because he know how to play with another guy. So he know what the cycle. We gonna be all right. Gary know we gonna be okay. And we still gonna get 2. I would never get rid of my 2 first-round draft picks. I said swap. You keep my 2 first-round draft picks, and let them move up and do what they want to do. And I'm still gonna get 2 good players in the first round. And the other thing I would do, if George Pickens ain't gonna take $27, $28 million for a 3-4 year contract, hey man, who want to trade him? Anybody want to give me a late first round draft pick? Fine. Anybody want to give me a 2 and a 3, or a 2 and a 4 with a player? I'll give me another wide receiver. There's gonna be some wide receivers at 2 that I can get that's gonna be dogs that would fit with CeeDee Lamb and B. And guess what? They may fit as well. So in 2 years with CeeDee Lamb, we think we're not gonna give him his 3rd contract. That's my new number 1. Y'all can talk what y'all want, but I know Dak Prescott gonna make that offense work. Or I can take that 2nd and then give me a running back that can go along with. I get my running game even better with 2-headed monster and a guy that's a home run hitter. Whoa. Yeah, I ain't with this. Photos would be enough wide receivers. Give me another guy to come in and be 3rd wide receiver. We have enough wide receivers to do enough that we need to do to pick Dak Prescott, and we'll win. I seen the numbers where they said Dak Prescott and Tom Brady in the first 10 years. Tom Brady ain't throw for as many yards as Dak Prescott. Tom Brady ain't have as many attempts as Dak Prescott. But Tom Brady in the first 10 years went about 3-4 Super Bowls. But y'all think Tom Brady won it because he had defense, and he did depend on the running game. It wasn't a weather, but they did run the ball enough so Tom Brady didn't have to go out there and throw it for 400,000 yards to win. Maybe if Dak didn't throw it as much, we might have won more Super Bowls. Maybe we had a better defense, we would have won more Super Bowls. Other thing, a lot of people like Caleb Downs. I like him too. Why did Coach Marv like Caleb Downs? Let Coach Marv pat himself on the back a little bit. You know, Coach Marv gonna pat himself on the back a little bit. I don't like patting myself on the back. I'm kind of patting myself on the back. I remember, and maybe Boss Cowboy and the guys from the watch party, you know, that I work with can testify to this. I've said on many times on the watch party, and then after the game, when we had like a couple of times I did the show, the post game show. I said a couple of times on there and said, listen, play a bit more physical in the defensive end and fix your safety position first, and then let's see how that works. I said when we brought in Zimmer, when we brought in Matt Eagleflus, I said this defense is made for safeties to be stars. And they got to see it. Safeties and linebackers. See it, diagnose it, go get it. And they forward playing guys that wants to be stars. I can look up my receipts on Twitter. Safeties that want to be stars, the defense will pop. Yes, because we got enough guys up front, enough guys that's gonna that's gonna get a lot of attention. And these guys got to want to be stars, and they're gonna make this thing pop. But they got to be multiple. The first big free agent they signed was they went and got a safety. They ain't spent $30 million on a safety in years. That tells you something. I said this on one of the live streams, and I said that the safety position is going to be the first thing they fix. I said, y'all might not talk about it now during the season, but I said any defensive guy that looks at this going to see that, and they're going to do that first. I said that, but everybody was talking about all the other stuff. And guess what they did? The first thing they attacked. Safety. Now, I don't know the show. Somebody might not say I ain't said that. But nobody ever talking about safety. I did a show on safety. I can pull my shows I did. When I'm talking about they should have got Jalen Ramsey and brought him in to be safety because Jalen Ramsey wanted to play safety, and I said he'll make it pop. He'll make this defense explode. I remember this defense in Dallas, and we want to talk about history. We have never been a great defense without great safeties. Let's go back to the 22, the Dan Quinn defenses. And let's not pat Dan Quinn on the back, but we had some pretty good defenses in that time. Well, the year that I talked about in 22 when we were the 12th ranked defense, and the year we had the better defense, we had Curse, who had his career year. Remember, we signed him to a contract, right? And why did Curse couldn't get no more than $5 million? Remember, Curse signed a 3-year deal for. They finally signed him to a 3-year deal for $15 million. Why did Curse couldn't get no more than $5 million? Because he was playing 1-year contract for what? $5 million for 2 or 3 years as prove-it deals. Remember what I just said? Let's go back to remember what I just said? I just told you, when you are in the NFL and you start playing these prove-it deals for $4 to $5 million, guess what? You ain't never coming back up to no. You're never gonna get no. That's how much you're gonna get. You may get a little bit more, but you ain't gonna get no astronomical money no more. That's it. You have set your market. Unless you do something that's way over the chart. Just having a good year, you still ain't gonna get no 10, 15 million. Curse was playing for $5 million. Guess what? He got a 3-year deal for $5 million. $5 million a year. That's it. And he had a Pro Bowl year. Donovan Wilson, just got into his contract now. That's how he got the contract, because we had 2 safeties that played outstanding that year. And every year since then, the safety position play has went down and what the defense has done. I ain't lying. I'm not lying. Every year the safeties went down, and guess what? The defense has got worse and worse. Because you know something? Real football. And this is no diss nobody. The real football people understands how important the safety is. Yeah, the highlights gets the corners because they get the interceptions and whatever. But safeties control the middle of the field. They control the coverages. They can dominate in the run game as well as the pass game. And I've always told you, a player that can dominate in 2 to 3 forms is much more important than a guy that can dominate one way. One trick ponies are not, they ain't dominate. A guy that can get a lot of pressures and a lot of sacks, but don't give me nothing but 20, 30, 25, 30 tackles a year, no more than 40 tackles a year, is not dominating. But you give me 20 sacks and 60 tackles, 60, 70 tackles, and I don't know how many quarterback hits, and forced fumbles, then you dominate. But don't tell me about pressures, because that's one of the most crazy. If y'all knew how they judge pressures, y'all be that's it. That's going on arbitrary about if he's loose or whatever. Give me quarterback hits, because there ain't no doubt about that. You get the quarterback. Give me sacks. Give me forced fumbles. Give me tackles. Then there ain't no doubt of your impact. Ain't no getting around that. Ain't nothing arbitrary about that. But all of a sudden, we done got pressures at the. That's just like when they start making this stat about yards caught on a cornerback when the digs. They say, oh, now we talk about yards caught. Nobody ever talked about that. Now is because that's our trick. If you the guy in the vicinity, they give the yards to you. They consider you a pressure if you get there, the man threw the ball, and then you run by the quarterback right out he threw the ball, and the ball already gone, and you take 2-3 steps and you run by the quarterback, so you pressured it. Yeah. Yeah. They consider that a pressure. And y'all get excited about that. That's pressure is when you put your hand on it. You ain't got to knock it flat. But when you touch it, that's the quarterback hit. Show me those pressures. Show me tackles. Show me tackles for loss. Then you telling me your impact. So Caleb Downs is on the board. I don't think that Caleb Downs be on the board, but if Caleb Downs on the board and the Cowboys no doubt draft Caleb Downs, and they already signed a $30 million they done spent $18 million per year this year in free agency in safety. They've got a $13 million a year safety from Arizona. They went and got the Denver guy. They signed him to a 1 year, $5 million. They gave him $2 more million more than what the other team gave him. Right? Offered him. So that's 18 million. So if they go out and they draft Caleb Downs, because he's available as safety, who told you so? And I can guarantee you, we could search Cowboy Nation. It ain't that many people that was on that since day one, since last year. One of my first shows that I made was said that we got to get better at safety, and that's why I wanted Jalen Ramsey, because I said the safety play had to improve. And I've talked about this all year long. And if they invest a first round pick and 2 free agent pickups in safety, it's telling you that they feel that they need to be dominant in that position. And guess what they feel Caleb Downs is? They feel he has the capabilities to be a Dan Woodson type player. And guess what? We ain't had a number one defense since Dan Woodson left here. Put that in your pipe of smoke. Nobody knows, but that's not exciting. Safety is not exciting. Y'all, and it's not important. Some of y'all think it's cornerback and safeties. Great safeties make make linebackers better. Great linebackers make great safety. Those two together guard the middle of the field. And let me say it again. Whoever wins the middle of the field, 9 times out of 10 wins the game. Whoever wins the paint in basketball, y'all can talk about all the 3-pointers y'all want. But the team that get the most rebounds, the most second chance points, can counteract 3-point shots. Because they get second chance points and second rebounds, guess what they're doing? They're getting up more shots. So you can hit more 3-pointers than they do. As long as they stay close in 3-pointers and they get more 2 points and more shots, they usually win the game. No rebounds, no rings. And where's the rebounds? In the paint. If you don't win the pitching battle and the alleys and the double play balls, you can't stop nothing up the middle of defense. And you can't manufacture runs with your speed at shortstop and second base and hitting. And your catcher can't really manage the pitcher and allow and control the infield and manage the game. You lose in baseball. Will Smith has been one of the best catchers in the National League for the last 2 or 3 years. Yeah. And he controls a great pitching staff. Yeah. Those who control the middle, they win. But y'all don't want to do that. That don't sound right. That's not newsworthy, but it's the truth. So if they draft Caleb Downs, that would tell you something. I don't think that they're gonna get. I don't think Caleb Downs is gonna be around. But if he is, and they do that, they're gonna say our safety position is gonna be packed. There's some guys that ain't gonna be on, but they're gonna go with these guys, and they're gonna be interchangeable. They think these guys can guard. They're gonna be smart. They're very smart. They're physical guys. They're attack guys, and they want to be stars. They're gonna allow them to be stars. The linebacker situation. Everybody's talking about the Ohio State guy. Everybody's talking, and Brian brought us this here. I know he did his work. What's appealing about Sonny Skiles? What's appealing about Sonny Skiles to this defense, or what would appeal to Sonny Skiles, to the Cowboys and Parker? In this defense. Let's do some history on Sonny Skiles. Sonny Skiles was a what? He's a converted linebacker, but he used to play what? Safety. That's why he's such good in coverage. That's why he knows about coverage. That's why he has an IQ about being back in. That's why he moves better going backwards. He's still trying to learn playing in the box because he probably played in the box as a safety. But there's a difference playing in the box as a safety than playing in the box as a linebacker. Because why I say safeties are dominant when they're in the box. Because the first people that the offense is drumming up the block is the defensive linemen and the linebackers. Usually, which comes at safeties when they're in the box, is wide receivers or tight ends or people trying to come off as combo blocks to get them. They don't have direct line people coming at them. And if they're playmakers, they'll have free reign like Palomado and all these other guys, and they're instinctive to blow stuff up. But when you're playing linebacker, you are direct. They got people directly coming at you, and most times it's big guys. So playing in the box as a safety and playing in the box as a linebacker is two different mentalities. He probably was good as a safety in the box, but in the linebacker position in the box, playing against bigger guys coming at you was a little tougher. Is he a great athlete? Yes. Measurables are great. Probably could do really well. But there are some dogs in this draft that play linebacker like it's supposed to play. Trotter, Rodriguez, guys that are what we call workhorse linebackers. The guy from Texas that love playing physical linebacker play, that are athletic enough, but are smart ball hawks, magnetic to the ball. You need some tough, gritty guys. You have the guys. You put the guys that are athletic around them, but you need some guys that are head bangers. And those guys that I mentioned, and a couple other guys that are head bangers. we could get them not in the first round. Or at later round in the first round. So be mindful, but that's my opinion. But I got to see what they do. Cornerback. I think they think they can make some out of these cornerbacks because they improved the safety position. They think that they can tell their corners to do what they're supposed to do, filter the stuff, and be able to cover. They're gonna play a lot of zone, but they're gonna play it tougher than what they played last year because I'm gonna get to my last point, and we're gonna discuss that. I know I'm going along today, but I'm back with you. I'm giving you a lot to unpack. Hopefully, I'm giving you a lot that I can make a lot of shorts off of. Hopefully, I want y'all to like, comment, and subscribe. If you hadn't subscribed to me and you did Coach Marv ain't coming, you came through this thing and they may have put it in the algorithms. They may have put it up, may come on somebody's feed and say, who is this guy named Coach Marv? He back. I hadn't seen him in, when he said he back, he must have been, go ahead and subscribe. Go ahead and like, share it. The people, my guys, my people that with me all the time, share it. Put a comment when you share it. Say, hey, y'all might have heard he's been gone for about a month. He has some things going on with him, but Coach Marv is back. He giving you the real. Check out my bio. My bio will tell you where I'm coming from. But cornerback. Would I draft a cornerback that got some type of injury stuff and maybe got a degenerate knee or just had a knee injury and probably had great skills, and then I'm gonna take a chance for him and maybe that he might be a red shirt this year? Hell no. There's too many good players out here that you can draft and play right now. This ain't the time to do that right now. And I ain't saying that this guy can't be somebody on the way, but let's go and get the guy that can play. But what they got to be, what's the most important thing for the cornerback that we draft? I don't want no guy that got a tackling problem. I don't want no guy that say he ain't gonna put his nose in it. I don't want none of those guys because they're cancerous. I heard that the Kansas City Chief, well, when Elam got cut from us, he went to the Titans, and then the Titans let him go. And now he with the Kansas City brought him in there. He will not make it. He won't make it 2 weeks in Kansas City. He ain't changed his spots. And listen, you ain't gonna play. They looking at him, but you ain't gonna play in Kansas City if you ain't in the back end. If you ain't come to come and play physical. Watch what I tell you. And if you're a backup cornerback, guess what you're going to do? You gonna have to play physical because your boy got to be on special teams. Yeah, and you better be in the physical then. So, can we get better defense? We're gonna get better defense. I believe we're gonna get better defense because it's about a mentality type thing. I know y'all keep saying, Coach keeps saying, Coach keeps saying, Coach keeps saying. It's about mentality. It's about mentality. He always says that. Yes, it is. It's about raising the bar, like Coach Bear said. What the bar means? Be about results. That's what he said. The bar means be about results. And if I can get anything, if y'all can switch this over to Coach Parker, if y'all want to get anything from Coach Marvin, come in and this is going to be the key. When I'm about to, the last push I'm about to give you for this show is the key for this defense to be where we need to be. The key thing that we need to get to be a contender for 6. And if you're a Cowboy fan, what I'm about to go over right now, you're about to learn what has always won us championships. And I don't care what gender, what years you was in it, what years, whatever, it's been the blueprint for us to win. We have never been, we have been to the deep, we have been to the Super Bowl just about more times than any other team. You want to talk about years? Yeah, we want to talk about 70s, going into the 90s, the 70s and 90s. They were 20 years apart. But the exact same blueprint worked then. And then when we had success as a team in these last 30 years, when we had moderate success, we still had the same blueprint. A very efficient quarterback that had very good running games. Tony Romo, when he had a great running game, we got upset in Green Bay. When we had a good running game, and we had some of our best defenses when we had success. With all the great players, the Roger Staubachs, the Tony Dorsett, the Drew Pearson, the Tony Hills, the Billy Joe Duprees, all those guys were outstanding. Preston Pearson. These guys were multi-talented offensive players. But we won a Super Bowl with Bob Lilly, and we dominated a team that they couldn't score no more than 13 points when we won our first Super Bowl. We won a Super Bowl when Roger Staubach won a Super Bowl when we made the Denver Broncos turn at 77. We got about 7 turnovers against the Denver Broncos, and we won a Super Bowl, and we had 2 defensive MVPs in that game, Harvey Martin and Randy White. With Tony Dorsett, Robin Newhouse, a great offensive line. Roger Staubach. But the defense led the way. In the 90s, go back to the Americans game when when they do the interviews as they go through the season, when we go through the season and they go back through the championship season. Go and see what Jimmy Johnson said the year we won the Super Bowl, the first Super Bowl. He said, we're going to introduce the offense, but everybody in the world they know that we're going to win this game on defense. The first Super Bowl they won, they had Troy Aikman and Emmitt Smith. Emmitt Smith was an all-time rusher, led the league. Michael Irvin had career numbers. Troy Aikman, Darryl Johnson, the Great Wall running offensive line. But we had the #1 defense that year. That turned the ball over 8 times, where our defense almost scored more points than our offense in that game. If Leon Lett don't get the ball from your play. We're the only team that got what? 1, 2, 3, 4 Super Bowl defensive MVPs of the game or the Super Bowl. There only been what? 8? We got 4 of them. So all the stars y'all talk about on offense, yes, we need them. But we only get to the Super Bowl defense first. Now, if y'all want to change that philosophy because y'all think it's new style and this is new and that's how we do it, no, coach, that's old school, then you will keep suffering those same 30 years because you're trying to change. A wheel is round, but you're trying to make it square because you want it your way. And guess what, fan base? Don't that's what we get on the Joneses about? Want to do it their way? And what are we? We're a reflection of what the Joneses have created us. Because little do you know, we have never played in a Super Bowl. We have never won a Super Bowl or lost a Super Bowl. We have never played an NFC championship game, or won an NFC championship game, or lost an NFC championship game, and we have paid in more than any other team. And we hadn't had a top 10 defense and a top 5 rushing attack. Check that out and put that in your pipe of smoke. So, in the long history, if that's been the criteria for us to get to those type of games, if you don't have that, you're not getting there. You're trying to do something that has never been done before. And why do something that ain't never been done before when you got great success doing it that way? That's not history lesson. That's facts. And moving to 2026 year, message to you, Coach Parker. Message to you, Schottenheimer. Now, this is another fact that we can't change this fact, but it's the truth. We ain't never won a Super Bowl without a defensive-minded head coach. Oh. Tom Landry was an innovator of offense, but he was a defensive guy first. Jimmy Johnson was defense first. Simple with offense, but defense first. Message to you, Schottenheimer. Message to you, Coach Parker, the young Coach Parker. I don't need you to come in here and do what all the other people say. Let's just let's just be half as good on defense and we got the offense with it. No, I need you to be a dog. I need you to go in that locker room and make this defense feel that they have to win the Super Bowl. Not just get better, dominate. I need you to work this offense like dogs. Because they're gonna come in, this offense gonna come in thinking, oh, we hot shot, we got it going on. I need you to make them to pay the price every day in practice. I need iron to sharpen iron. If they feel like they iron on the other side of the ball, I want you to make sure they're iron. I need a defensive coordinator that says, it's about us. And I need players on defense to say, it's about us. Now, your name could be a big name. You could have all the accolades, but give me 11, give me 22 defensive guys that say it's about us being dogs. And I can put a defense together that could be a damn good defense. Because when I watch Seattle, they put a 20-some guys together that some people say, well, they might be great. They might be a bunch of good guys doing their roles. They dominated. And they dominated because they believed they had to dominate. So you want the blueprint Cowboys, all this other in the windows y'all talking about? Get your defense together. Talk about if they gonna be a weapon. Remember my t-shirts I told you I still ain't got my all that the stuff that ran into some problems, but we're gonna get it back. Defense is a weapon in Dallas. If you don't believe it, it ain't gonna happen. Defense gotta be a weapon in Dallas. And they gotta have the mentality that they're going out, run, pass, they're gonna be a weapon. When teams come in here, they gotta say, how we gonna stop the Cowboys defense for not making their offense even better? Let me say that again. We got to have teams come in here and say, how are we going to How are we going to stop their defense from dominating the game and making their offense even more better? Making it easier for their offense, making it easier for the CeeDee Lamb, making it easier for the Jonte Williams, making it easy for the tight ends. Quinn Williams told you need dogs, but he didn't say dogs. He said unified dogs that will sacrifice and that will have chemistry to get the job done. And I go back to it, it's about the sum of the parts. You got to have the mentality that you're going to be better, not just better. And we going in and say, well, we just get in the top, and then the middle with the offense, with the defense, we went check the Super Bowls out. Ain't nobody won the Super Bowl in the last 5 years with just a okay middle of the pack back in. If it's 1 out of 7 to 8, I still go what I say. See, all y'all love to grab one example and say, well, what about so-and-so? Well, cool, let's look at the next 10. Does that work for more than a 5 out of 10? No, it's 1. Okay. Well, if it's 1 out of 10, guess what I go with? And I hear people say about turnovers. Know what gets turnovers? Physical defense that applies pressure, that makes everything hard when you make teams turn the ball over. But teams that dictate on defense get turnovers because they put you in pressure spot where you have to mess up. Teams that let you do what they want, they don't get turnovers. And if you ain't physical, you ain't. And there is no recipe for a non-physical defense. If anybody tell me, say, no, we play defense, but we play it finesse-wise. If anybody play football, tell me when they told you that you could be a finesse defensive player. I want to tell me when that. And tell me who told you that, and then you tell me how good a coach they were. And the main problem for our defense this year is we were finesse defense. Defense has to be a weapon. And this team cannot win if everybody is not bought in. We're not going to be able to defend. We have to be bought in to defend. Fit and mentality has a lot to do with your success. You got to be bought in to defend. Now, I'm going to tell you, this offense may struggle if this defense doesn't come to work and put pressure on this offense to get better. Because we already resting on our laurels thinking that we're going to be good because, oh, yeah, because, our offensive players don't feel no pressure. Everybody talking like they're going to be a top 5 offense, a top offense. They're going to be unstoppable already. And guess what the rest of the NFL saying? Shit. Watch what I tell you. And if we don't come to play and put new stuff in there and get better, I'm looking for this offense to get better. Why? Because this offensive line, I got some people out there talking bad about the offensive line. Offensive line was a 6th rate offensive line in football last year with multiple injuries. This offensive line is talented. This stuff about Terrence Steele, put him on the market and see what happens. You don't get your left guard, your first round left guard who had a very good season, missed 4 games because of ankle injury. Your Stiller missed 5 games in his first year starting. Tyler Smith, your great offensive guard on your left hand, he had a little knee thing. He missed the game, but it kind of hit him a little bit. Your left tackle, y'all talk trash about it, but he had some very good games. But he hurt himself. The guy that you came off number 71, you got good play out of him. This was his first year playing. The year before, he was a red shirt. You had 2 or 3 guys that was in their first year starting. Chad still played the most snaps out of all your players. And he gave up, 5 or 6 sacks with us throwing the ball as much as we threw the ball. We had a quarterback had a career year. We had a running back that had a career year. And you say with all the interchanges, we're playing with backup linemen, with guys being out, and we still the 6th best offensive line in football. Hey, man, y'all crazy. And this offensive line ain't been together, but this is their first year as a unit being together. Come on, man. Context. But we can look at a couple of games and say, you know something, we're in the hood. It's the sum of the parts. Everybody in the Great Wall with no all pros. Everybody in the Great Wall with all pros. But together, when they got unison in sync, they were dominant. This is the second year of this offensive line being together. Last year you had 2 first-year starters. No, 3 first-year starters on your offensive line. Left tackle, first year starting, trying to play a whole year. Guard was just a rookie drafted. Center, first year starting a lot of games. And you had injuries in that, and you still was 6 better. And you still was a top offense. And y'all talking about, well, you know, the offensive line got problems. I ain't never seen a top offensive line. Listen, tell me an offense is in the top 4 or 5 and their offensive line bad. If they in the bottom yet, the first thing I'm saying offense, ain't no offensive, there's no top 5 offense where the offensive line is bad. Could it be better? It will. Continuity, confidence, playing together. This is the second year now. I expect it to move up a level. And they got rid of the center because I think they like some of the other guys that redshirted last year that they say played very well too. But this ain't had no spot for them. This offense is built for, man, decades. For a decade. That's the least of your worries. It's just going to take continuity and playing together. And like I said, 3 first-year starters last year. When one was a rookie. And the other guy that was getting a lot of time at tackle, off his redshirt year. So it's his first year. Then Bass was coming off of, come on, man. And with the 6th best offensive line, and y'all nitpicking? Y'all should be like a lot of other teams in the NFL saying, jeez, there's a lot of talent over there, man, offensive line-wise. When they get together in another year, ooh, Lord, that's what the rest of the NFL is saying. Where ain't gonna start at? He ain't better than Tyler Smith. He ain't better than Tyler Booker. He play guard. Now, if he play center, I don't think he's a better center than. He's a great backup, and he's a great guy as a utility guy. Long term, the other 2 guys are better. But see what we do? Soon as the guy do something, I mean, when the guy number 71 did good, first thing they said, Oh man, he should be playing more than Terrence Steele. You know why they took Terrence Steele out and let him get reps? Because they were building an offensive line and they had to get him. He played well and they put him out there to get him. They had to put him in. They're building the offensive line for the future. The best way to build is put them in the game, and they feel confident in them. That wasn't no slap on Terrence. They understood. They got guys. They knew that these guys were young. They got to get him on the field. They ain't gonna waste him for 2 years before they get him out there. They felt he was ready to get on the field, to go through his growing pains. He's gonna be much better next year. This is his year too. We rolling the offensive line. Y'all can probably look and say, "Oh man, this and that." But listen, man, you'll get top offenses with injuries and still be able to roll and don't hinder none of you did for your offense. They did the same offense. Listen, everybody's not gonna be Hall of Famers. Everybody ain't gonna be all pros. But it's the sum of the parts. I think they need a second running back. Now, would they believe in Blue and Maffa? That's fine. But it's 2 running backs out there. They on the board. It's hard for me to go past the guy from Washington. It's hard for me to go past the guy from Notre Dame. Because I think add those 2 guys along with Javonte Williams and have a guy that can hit the home run and do, and those 2 guys being fresh and going at you, that's not going to stop Pickens and Lamb from getting their balls. I want them to catch touchdowns and big plays. I don't want them to be the offense. I don't want them to have 40 catches for us to have productivity. I want them to have 7 to 8 catches, 2 touchdowns apiece, and 100 yards apiece on 7 catches, on 5 catches, 102 touchdowns. Yeah, that's getting 18, 19 yards a pop. I don't want to use the pass game as jabs. I told y'all the thing before. No, let me use the passing game for knockout blows. My dad used to tell me about boxing. Guys go out there pitty pat with that jab. Don't never leave the right hand. Don't never throw no power punch, pitty pat. See, Muhammad used to pitty pat you and sting you with that jab, but he popped that right hand in your face to back you off. He was setting something up. Now you got guys be out there pitty patting when he sting with the jab. They pat with the thing. Not even get nothing stinger, not no hard jab. They pat. And my dad used to say, guy with that pat, guess where they gonna mess around and get? Knocked out. I want guys who's gonna sting with the jab and god dog gonna get hit with a right hook. Let these receivers be power punchers. With the body, bring the head down, knock the person out. That's what the running game does. Get you guarding the body, knock you out with a headshot. Boxing is the creative sport that created everything else. Everything's centered about how boxing is the quintessential sport of how things be attacked. Attack the body, get the body to fall, the head will come. Those who win the middle of the field win the game. What's the middle of the field? The body. You're gonna learn something about football with Coach Marv. Now some of y'all ain't gonna know it. Still gave you a discount. Still got a chance. And the only thing they did is they just went and guaranteed some of the unguaranteed money on Steele contract. And when they guaranteed that a part of that money that was left on the contract, because everybody think, oh, he took it. Listen, he had the contract. He had a certain amount guaranteed. There's a certain amount not guaranteed. When they come to you and say, okay, that certain amount of money is not guaranteed. We want to guarantee some of that, but it's going to be less than what we guaranteed the first time. Yes, it makes your APR go down, but he's getting all the money that he got off his contract, off his original contract. A lot of players don't get all the money they got off the original contract. He got the guaranteed money plus the other portion. Guess what the Green Bay Packers did with Gary? Same deal as Steele. They could have guaranteed his money. You talking about a guy that's run blocking, one of the top run blockers in the league. He only gave up 6-7 snaps. He played the most downs out of any lineman, and 6 or 7 snaps out of, and how many? And then Dak threw the ball more than most quarterbacks. But y'all look at it, and listen, this is the crazy thing about it. Lou Takes, one of the guys that work. I love his film work. I think he does. Now, do we agree on everything? No, but I think he does some great work when it comes to, he did some work on some stuff about last year by in the trenches after every game. He go over every play and he does the check him out. I think he got very great skill set in grading offensive line. He played it. He does a great job in grading. I always say, when you grade an offensive lineman, you can't grade off 1 or 2 blow-up plays. It's a 50, 60 play game. They may lose. Guess what? The guys that they playing against, guess what? They get paid too. Every game he goes through there, still ain't got all them X's, because I get, and you know something? There's a bias when you come to PFF stats, because there's always going to be a bias against Steele because he's an undrafted free agent. There's always going to be a bias. But you can't tell me that if you're a football person and you watch play in and play out against Steele, you talking about, well, he got to go. Carried him. Show me on film where that kid carried him. How crazy. You know who used to get this? You know who used to get this? Now we give you some history you don't really understand. The great Mark Tuinay. The great Mark Tuinay. Never made a Pro Bowl. That left tackle. But he was part of the Great Wall. What? This is another question. If you got a bad tackle, what did it hinder the offense from doing? It's just a talking point. And the Cowboys went straight to him quickly because they understood that he needed to be on this team. Yeah. Listen, I always say this, man. You can hear it goes back to what I was saying. I'm about to close it out. It goes back to what I was saying before. You can hear all these rumors and they can talk about all these stories, and you have to see these people flash this thing up talking about we gotta get rid of Steele, get this and all that. But watch what the Cowboys do. And I keep trying to tell y'all this. Watch what they do. All that stuff that people talk about, but watch what they do. They attack that situation quick and fast. So, like I said, man, this defense. And what's crazy about it, man? What's crazy about it when people talk about Martin? You know, y'all ever heard interviews with how Zach Martin talking about how great Terrence Steele was? Nobody like they act like they never hear that, did they? But they're like they're gonna have Martin raved about Terrence Steele. And I remember when Terrence Steele took over Lon Collins, Boss Cowboy, and all these people did film work, and they went on the film and watched, and we watched how he dominated without no help, and everybody said, "Oh, what you got that?" Then we watched it and said, and then we started saying, "Well, you know, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that's being said off a couple of plays, but not facts." A lot being said, and guess what? You're not gonna have everybody on your offensive line gonna be Pro Bowlers. No, and you're gonna have some people that are gonna sacrifice money wise for to be able to fit. Yeah. Some guys on your team is gonna get paid a little bit less than a lot of other people. Yeah. Some people are not gonna get their face value, but to be able to fit on your team because they're gonna find a slot that they can't get as much as they would get if they was on another team. I want y'all to understand that. Every team has a different dynamic of pay. Some players are not going to be able to, and I say that about wide receivers. Some receivers, pickers on this team may not get the market value that a another number one receiver gets on another team because he's not the best receiver on that team. And the structure of this one is different. That's just like in your household. What works in somebody else's household might not work in yours because the dynamic of your household is different than the one someone else's. That doesn't make the person a less or to make the situation less. It's just that's how it fits in that place. So yes, the object of what the value of guys what they're supposed to get. That's true. But context always works. And I think a lot of our fan base deal with a lot of stuff, but they don't deal with context. And we took the context of the situation, we'll understand a lot of what our problems were and a lot of what we need to improve on. But remember this, people, the media don't deal with context. They just want reaction. And they make everything look like it's just one is the what they talk about is the source of what they're talking about. They don't look about why things happen or what the situation was. The media does the storylines do not deal with context. It just gives you something to talk about. But when you look at it in context, sometimes you can figure out that okay, things ain't as bad or as good. That's the exact same thing that a lot of my content creators and all these people are talking about when I hear Boss and Lou Takes and a lot of other guys when I hear them talk about film. Film is context. And then you got context of a film, and then you got context of what the situation was. When you put all those things together and you find the results, then you can say, is it good or bad? But that's what these guys are saying when they watch film. They're saying, okay, this is the context. Somebody can say it's bad, but let's look at the context. But then I tell you this: you have to look at things a little deeper than just the film. You got to find out, so okay, what's the structure of the offense? What's some of the other things that made the play go bad? Where else did we lose? How long have these guys been together? Do we have continuity here? Do it look like our mentality was win first? You can see all these type of things. Those are bigger parts of context. But the media stories are not going to be about context. They're going to blurt something out and say a PFF stat or something like that, and you're going to run with it, but there's no context behind that. There's a context with Mike Crosby. If you got him to generate these things, okay, yes, he probably can give you some ability. But the context behind it is, does Parker want that type of guy, or he want a guy that can do linebacker things as well? Do he want a traditional defensive end? Did he bring a traditional defensive end coach in here? No. Yes, the salary cap might be $7 million a cap hit now. But that means money is pushed back in. If a guy may have a problem knee-wise, 2 years from now, we're going to be locked in to paying a guy boatloads of money that may not be the same guy. I can understand all or nothing, but you can get quality for better than that. Do you give up 2 first-round draft picks when you traded to get these picks? And now you got a chance to utilize 2 guys that you probably in this time frame, you got a CD Lamb, you got a Michael Parsons, you got a Booker within this between 12 and 20. If you get on those type of players, he's better than a guy that can come in for maybe 2 years. Come on. The context. You know, understand what people talk about film. Film is part of context, but there are other areas about context that I think as our fan base, we don't even touch. And we got amnesia to them. And I do think that we take 1 out of 5 things and we see it 1 time out of 10 things, and then we say that's possible, and we go with that. Las Vegas has made a lot of money on people betting on underdogs. And yes, you're supposed to take $100 a hunch. Yes, you're supposed to do that. Any coach will tell you, yes, you're supposed to bet on certain things. But use your context. It's going to lead you to the thing. I always used to tell a player. I had a player that said, he came to me and said, Coach, he came to me and said, one of the games, he said, Coach, man, what they doing certain things to me. How do I get over, they block it down on me. How do I get out there? They holding me. And I always tell every player, and this is the same thing with these organizations. If you want to figure out how we're going to solve something, go back to your preparation. Go back to your preparation and your initial plan and your initial values of how you do things. And it's going to show you the blueprint of how to overcome any difficult situation. That's why I tell you, fan base, we're going to have a lot of rumors. We have given a lot of suggestions. This coming week, we're going to see what they're going to do. And then after we see what they're going to do, we're going to get a little bit more about direction. Then the next direction is when they start putting it on the grass. And they're going to fill in the second wave of free agency, a little bit more pieces of glue pieces to glue in what they want. They want guys that fit. They're not looking for a bunch of superstars. They're looking for a team that's going to fit. And then we're going to see how they put it on the grass. And then we're going to see how they react. But Coach Parker, as I leave you, I don't want defenses to get better. I want you to have the best damn defense in the damn NFL. And if you ain't coming here wanting that, if you ain't coming here preaching that, if your assistant coaches ain't coming preaching being the damn best, then you ain't gonna make it in Dallas, because history says we win through defense, not offense. That's our DNA. As I said, we had a lot of people to come through here. Please like, comment, and subscribe. You got the to-do list over here to my right hand or to your left hand on the bottom screen here. And it says to-do, the to-do list. As you come in here, and that's a like, subscribe, and comment. My Cash App for people who hadn't seen me in a while. Hey man, Coach Price is, Coach Marv is, struggling with a lot of things. You still ain't see it. Got my studio, but had some things that come up with my house and stuff like that, man. And my vehicles that set me back. But I want to get back to try to get monetized. I need about 50 to 60 more subscribers to get that 1,000 subscriber mark, and to say, hey man, we done moved up another level. If you want to again, if you want to support the channel, that's my Cash App, PBS 222. You can send a Cash App if you was on this live stream and you did I'll go back. If you did, I didn't look at the comments. I didn't went over in the comments. I should have had the comments going. I should have been watching with the comments. But if you I was looking at the comments here, but if you put in a super chat, man, I'll get that. If you put a super chat in, I will look and find the super chat and praise and acknowledge you. Please put comments. I'm gonna try to acknowledge you. I'm gonna probably run some more shorts out of this. Hopefully we're gonna be doing some other type of shows. With some, I'm still gonna get that show together with talking to a good friend of mine who got a show. We're gonna try to do a show talking about football and NIL. Coach Marv is. I'm coming because it's real talk, and sometimes I know what's gonna hurt. The feeder system is always the important. The roots of this football thing is always the football thing from high school to college. And they're the roots of the NFL. And if the roots get tainted, the tree falls. The mighty tree of the NFL is still supplied by roots. And the roots are the roots go all the way to the Pop Warner, to the middle school, to the high school, to the college scenes. That's still how the tree of the NFL grows. And if it gets tainted and it starts to rot or deteriorate, eventually the NFL will. I don't care how great you think the NFL is. If the roots go, the tree falls. So we're going to do some shows that talks about the roots of the NFL, about football, when we talk about the NIL and stuff. But again, for my people that come into this show, that ride with me, that were glad with all the comments that said, we're glad for you to be back. You're glad for you being here. All the people that I know I didn't talk about your comments because I was really ranting because I hadn't talked to you in a while. Right? But thank you so much for your support and coming with me. We're gonna get back into the swing of the thing because we want to see what's gonna go on draft night. These 2 days of the draft. Again, follow me on Twitter, on X at Coach Marv 1914. Again, like, comment, subscribe with Coach Marv. Real talk. Let me know, we back. Let me know some topics when you send me videos or whatever. Let me know what you want to, talk about, what positions you want to talk about, and we'll probably do some shows to talk about positions. But I just want to thank you so much for being a very knowledgeable crowd, a crowd that knows football, the ones, and that understand we're going to try to teach you. Yes, hopefully we can get a linebacker. I just want a great middle linebacker that wants to play and plays physical and guy that's around the football. That's going to be very important for us to have that. So, as I said again, thank y'all for coming back in. Thank you for having me. Thank you for me coming back and supporting me. Thank you for all the people who have supported me and been it. If you want to support the channel, the Cash App is there. That'll be great, man, for me to keep on to try to get some more stuff going, man. But as I always say, no one enough can start God's will. Regardless of how things going or what's going on, how things are turn out, things are being out, just trust and believe God's will happen on earth and as is in heaven. It will happen. So you just got to keep pushing and keep on pushing, man, because first it comes with a thought. Then you're going to add some faith to that. That thought that you came up with, that hope that you came up with. After that hope, that thought is hope. And then you're going to add some faith to it. And you're going to have to be faithful to it because you can believe in that hope. And then you have to persevere through all the stuff that goes on that wants to get you off of that hope. And the ones that you can have that hope, put that faith to it, and persevere through, they're going to be the ones that get the breakthrough. So hope, faith, perseverance equals breakthrough. So that has nothing to do with the Cowboys. That's about life. So remember to keep pushing. Thank you for the support. Until next time, salute.